Hello there, very good evening and welcome to the news at 6. Glad you could join us this Saturday evening. Here's a look at the headlines first. In Ramallah, Prime Minister Modi describes India-Palestine relations stronger than ever before. Praises Palestine for showing exemplary courage in extremely tough times. Both sides signed 6 agreements on cooperation in various fields. Suspected Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorists sneak into an army camp in Jammu. 2 junior officers are killed and 6 others injured. Operation underway to nab the terrorists. And after a post-budget meeting with board members of RBI and SEBI, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley says he expects the country's fiscal situation to be reasonably comfortable in 2018-19. Our top story today, Prime Minister Narendra Modi concluded a highly significant visit to Palestine on Saturday. The 3-hour stay included bilateral meetings with Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas and exchange of 6 agreements between India and Palestine. Here's a ground report by our Foreign Affairs editor, Akhilesh Suman.
The first visit by an Indian Prime Minister to Palestine started with the ceremonial guard of honor for Prime Minister Narendra Modi at Al-Muqatta, the compound of the presidential headquarters in Ramallah. Bilateral talks with Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas followed the reception. Both leaders then witnessed the exchange of 6 key bilateral agreements between India and Palestine.
फिलिस्तीन के राष्ट्र निर्माण के प्रयासों में भारत आपका बहुत पुराना सहयोगी है। हमारे बीच ट्रेनिंग, टेक्नोलॉजी, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर डेवलपमेंट, प्रोजेक्ट असिस्टेंस और बजटरी सपोर्ट के क्षेत्र में सहयोग है ही। हमारी नई पहल के हिस्से के रूप में हमने यहाँ रामल्ला में एक टेक्नोलॉजी पार्क प्रोजेक्ट शुरू किया है, जिसमें इस समय निर्माण कार्य तेज गति से चल रहा है। भारत रामल्ला में इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ डिप्लोमेसी बनाने में भी सहयोग कर रहा है। हम मिनिस्ट्रियल लेवल जॉइंट कमीशन मीटिंग के माध्यम से अपने संबंधों को और अधिक गहन बनाने पर सहमत हुए हैं।
Supporting a sovereign Palestine, the Prime Minister expressed hope for peace, while insisting that a permanent solution can only come through dialogue.
कि भारत फिलिस्तीनी लोगों के हितों का ध्यान रखने के लिए वचनबद्ध है। भारत फिलिस्तीनी के शांतिपूर्ण माहौल में शीघ्र एक संप्रभु स्वतंत्र देश बनने की आशा करता है। प्रेसिडेंट अब्बास और मैंने हाल के क्षेत्रीय और वैश्विक विकास पर विचार विमर्श किया है, जिसका संबंध फिलिस्तीन की शांति, सुरक्षा और शांति प्रक्रिया से है। भारत इस क्षेत्र में शांति और स्थिरता की बहुत उम्मीद करता है। हमारा मानना है कि अंततः फिलिस्तीन के प्रश्न का स्थायी जवाब ऐसी वार्ता और समझ में ही निहित है, जिसके जरिए शांतिपूर्ण सह अस्तित्व का मार्ग मिल सके।
President Abbas also conferred the Grand Collar of the State of Palestine on Prime Minister Narendra Modi in recognition of his contribution to improving relations between India and Palestine.
بداية أن أرحب بكم ضيفا كبيرا وعزيزا على شعبنا الفلسطيني في زيارتكم التاريخية الأولى إلى فلسطين التي تكن لكم شخصيا.
Earlier, the Prime Minister laid a wreath at the mausoleum of the tallest leader of Palestine, Yasser Arafat. Accompanied by Prime Minister Rami Abdallah, he took a short tour of the Yasser Arafat Museum adjacent to the mausoleum. Akhilesh Suman's report from Ramallah for Rajya Sabha TV.
In fact, Akhilesh Suman is still in Ramallah, joining us on the phone line from there. Akhilesh, this was a visit, that India was looking forward to very keenly. Also Palestine. So eventually the 3-hour visit that took place, give us an idea of how it went, and, the warmth that the leaders shared was reflective of how, of course, the future relations are going to be too.
Yeah, it is really interesting that the Prime Minister Narendra Modi has given a clear message from Ramallah that shun violence and oppose terrorism, cooperate for progress and prosperity, and attain independence and sovereignty through peaceful dialogue. So this is the key mantra Prime Minister Narendra Modi has given to Mohammed Abbas, and this is the context. There is a context of it because the internal politics of Palestine is also mired into competition between forces who are advocating for peace and dialogue, and the forces who want to get the goal through violent means, terrorism means, like Hamas. So there is a competition between the Mohammed Abbas and Hamas organization, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi has sided by Mohammed Abbas, who has always tried to get it from the diplomatic and political attainment. And Mohammed Abbas told that we will oppose terrorism, and we have been standing with India against terrorism. And he also reiterated the fact that India has been supporting Palestinian cause, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit as first Prime Minister of India has given new energy to the Palestinian cause. So I think it was a very good understanding between both the head of the governments, between India and Palestine. And in coming days, when you know that we have very good relation with Israel also, we have good relation with US also, and now at a point that Israel and US had become on the same page on the issue of Jerusalem, that is in a way contradictory to the desire of Palestinians, that Palestinians also want Jerusalem as a capital, dividing Jerusalem as Palestinian capital as well as Israeli capital. But Israel and USA is against it. So at this point of time, when the Prime Minister is taking a firm step, I think it is a clear message to the world that India is on its way to support Palestine the way it was supporting Palestinians in the past, and our proximity, our cooperation with any other state is dehyphenated. So it is a moralistic stand, it is a political stand, and also it is a clear message to the Arab world that India is the fair friend of Palestine the way it was earlier. So I think in the coming days, when you see the future, Prime Minister has clearly mentioned that we are ready to give you all sorts of capacity building cooperation, and Palestinians speak about it. The way we have trained the Palestinian diplomats, we have trained Palestinians in IT sector, and we are giving educational facilities. We are also giving health facilities, and we will create more educational and health facilities. So Prime Minister, India's goal is to give so much enabling situation for Palestinians, so that they can feel confident, and just world should not bracket Palestinians just for violence. So it is a different type of life.
Yes, that's right. And it was very important, of course, those words that you, of course, mentioned, Akhilesh, dehyphenating ties between Israel, dehyphenating Israel and Palestine, a perception correction, whatever you may call that, that has been achieved. Very quickly, just give us a sense of now he heads on to the UAE and then Oman. A quick, brief, update on that, please.
Actually, in UAE and Oman, he will also be in UAE today and then again tomorrow. So in Bahrain, he's in Abu Dhabi, and then tomorrow he will be in Dubai. So it is in a way, it is a cluster of the important countries in the Gulf region, from Palestine to UAE and then Oman. I think it is in a way that coordinating with all the important Gulf countries, that India has advocated for Palestinian cause from Ramallah, and now going UAE and Oman, going there, giving a clear message that India has twofold goal in the Middle East. One is peace and stability in the whole region, the way you know, and the other thing that India seeks cooperation from all the Arab world, giving cooperation where it is required, like in Palestine, and getting India as a playing ground for the investment from these countries. So I think this is a clear message that India is for development, peace and cooperation against terrorism. All right.
We'll leave it there for now. Akhilesh Suman, thank you so much for joining us with those details. Heading on to national news now, in Jaish-e-Mohammed, terrorists attacked an army camp in Jammu. 2 junior commissioned officers were killed. The area has been cordoned off and an operation is underway to capture the terrorists.
Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorists attacked an army camp on the outskirts of Jammu on Saturday. 2 junior commissioned officers were killed. 6 people were also injured, including a colonel and an army officer's daughter. The terrorists reportedly breached the 36th Army Brigade camp and entered the JCO family quarters. It is the first such suicide attack by terrorists in Jammu this year.
There was an exchange of fire between the sentry and few terrorists managed to enter the Sunjwa military camp. Thereafter, the quick response teams have cordoned off the area. They have localized and sanitized the militants into a limited area. They have been isolated.
After the incident, Home Minister Rajnath Singh spoke to the Jammu and Kashmir DJP and directed MHA officials to look into the matter.
स्वस्थ रहिए, हमारे सेना और सिक्योरिटी फोर्सेस के तमाम बखूबी जो है, जो जिस काम को अंजाम देना चाहिए वो दे रहे हैं, अपनी जिम्मेदारी का निर्वाह कर रहे हैं और कभी भारतवासियों का मस्तक को झुकने नहीं देंगे.
Chief Minister Mehbooba Mufti also offered condolences on Twitter.
3-4 दिन से जो है इस प्रकार के इनपुट्स थे कि कुछ बॉर्डर के ऊपर, आईबी के ऊपर कुछ लोग अंदर घुसना चाहते हैं, कुछ टारगेट्स थे उनके, लेकिन उस वहां पर अलर्ट था, तो हो सकता है अलर्ट के कारण उन्होंने टारगेट बदला हो, इस प्रकार की बात है. लेकिन जो है ये बड़ा बहादुरी से हमारे जवान लड़ रहे हैं और पूरा उनका मोरल अप है. और जम्मू में जिस प्रकार से वो टेरराइज करने की कोशिश उनकी है कि लोगों का जो है मोरल डाउन करने के लिए, बिल्कुल नहीं है.
A high alert was sounded in Jammu and security was tightened in and around the city. Schools within 500 meters of the camp have been closed. Heavy security has been deployed at all entry and exit points. The military station, spread over many acres, lies along the Jammu-Pathankot highway. It has residential quarters and schools inside. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television.
Finance Minister Arun Jaitley is expecting the country's fiscal situation to be reasonably comfortable in 2018-19. After a post-budget meeting, Jaitley today shared his views on various aspects of the economy, along with SEBI Chairman Ajay Tyagi and RBI Governor Urjit Patel.
In his customary post-budget meeting, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley on Saturday addressed the boards of the Reserve Bank and market regulator SEBI. The discussion included financial sector reforms contained in the Union Budget 2018-19 and the proposal to compensate farmers. Jaitley assured that the fiscal situation will be comfortable in the next financial year.
I see the next year to be reasonably more comfortable as far as revenues are concerned. And therefore, I can't at this stage say that there would be any slippage. I'm sure we'll be able to maintain the target quite well.
The Finance Minister said the long-term capital gains announced in the budget is also being discussed.
सेबी के अंदर क्योंकि मार्केट पे उसका क्या प्रभाव पड़ता है और जो मार्केट मूवमेंट्स हुए हैं उसमें ज़्यादा विदेशी अमेरिकन मार्केट्स का प्रभाव अधिक है, इस प्रकार की चर्चा उसमें से उभरकर सामने आई थी.
RBI Governor Urjit Patel said monetary policy decisions factored in future needs of the country besides strengthening the development.
I don't think that that our decisions have been backward-looking, they have been forward-looking. As you know, 17-18, the growth rate has also been increased. I think on GDP at market prices, it's at 7.1. So you know, it's a good growth rate which is reasonable under the circumstances when we had implementation of demonetization.
Patel pointed out that capital raising has been healthy and this will make way for better debt to equity ratios. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Chhattisgarh Chief Minister Raman Singh presented the state's budget in the Assembly on Saturday. Raman Singh also holds the additional portfolio of finance. This is the last budget of the government's third term. Chhattisgarh is slated to go to polls in November.
प्रधानमंत्री आदर्श ग्राम योजना में बेमेतरा, बड़ौदा बाजार, भाटापारा, जांजगीर चांपा, बिलासपुर एवं मुंगेली जिले के अनुसूचित जाति बहुल 175 गांवों में आवास, पेयजल, विद्युत, शिक्षा, स्वास्थ्य सुविधाओं को केंद्रित करते हुए आदर्श ग्राम के रूप में विकसित करने का कार्य संचालित है। इस योजना में 328 गांवों को जोड़ने हेतु कार्य योजना तैयार की जा रही है। मानवघाती नक्सलवाद के साथ युद्ध अब अंतिम चरण में है। हमें विश्वास है कि जल्दी को हम जड़ से समाप्त कर देंगे। मैं उन सभी जाबाज सुरक्षा कर्मियों को नमन करते हुए उन्हें श्रद्धांजलि देना चाहूंगा जिन्होंने इस युद्ध में बलिदान दिया है। प्रदेश में कानून व्यवस्था को सुदृढ़ करने हेतु 18-19 के बजट में 4,309 करोड़ 70 लाख की राशि का प्रावधान किया गया है। राज्य के अत्यंत नक्सल प्रभावित 8 जिलों के अधोसंरचना विकास हेतु 230 करोड़ का प्रावधान है। इस विशेष योजना केंद्र सरकार द्वारा हमारे अनुरोध पर स्वीकृत की गई है, जिसके लिए मैं प्रधानमंत्री माननीय नरेंद्र मोदी जी को धन्यवाद देना चाहूंगा।
Congress President Rahul Gandhi addressed a public rally in Hospet in Karnataka's Bellary district. Rahul targeted the government on the Rafale aircraft deal, alleging that it is the biggest issue of corruption in the country. In his speech, the Congress chief accused the BJP-led central government of failing to deliver on its polls promises. Rahul is on a 4-day visit to the state and is touring the northern areas of Bellary, Kopal, Raichur, Yadgir, Kalaburgi and Bidar.
कांग्रेस पार्टी सच्चे वायदे करती है, जो कहती है वो करके दिखाती है, और नरेंद्र मोदी जी के शब्द खोखले हैं। जो वो कहते हैं वो करते नहीं हैं।
Without a quick break here, we'll be back with more news in a bit. Stay with us.
Hello and welcome. I'm Amritan Rai and you're watching Law of the Land on Rajya TV.
Most focus has to be also on renewable energy, because the future lies in the renewable energy.
We have top engineers, we have companies that are doing extremely well, and this sort of institution will serve both as a feeder into our academic institutes.
This would be a major challenge, because the positives for us is that we have a very talented young population. So given the right environment, they can achieve wonders.
Watch Law of the Land on Rajya Sabha television.
Welcome back. President Ramnath Kovind today addressed the first convocation of the National Institute of Food Technology, Entrepreneurial and Management in Sonipat. Praising the institute, he said that it's playing a vital role in promoting skill development and technology to save wastage of farmers' produce like vegetables, fruits and milk. The president also passing out students to work towards nation building by using their skills and experience for farmers' welfare.
You are entering a world full of possibilities, and a world where the skills you have learnt here, that is food technology and entrepreneurship, have a great demand. You are especially fortunate, for what you have learnt can not only empower you to build a professional career, but can also change the lives of our farmers and help in the development of prosperous country.
Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu was the chief guest at the valedictory function of the Mahamastaka Abhisheka festival at the Shravana Belagola in Karnataka. He performed the Rajyabhishek ceremony there, and later he released 108 books published by the Bharatiya Gyanpith. Speaking on the occasion, the Vice President said that Karnataka is well known for its rich cultural and heritage. Describing India as the capital for spirituality, he said that it is a culture that has sustained over the centuries. Calling upon senior leaders of the country to encourage others by visiting the holy place, he said that one should never feel shy of dharma. He also said that everyone must give back to society.
धार्मिक भावना, ये हमारा मूलभूत विश्वास है इस देश का। दुनिया में भारत का पहचान भी ऐसा है। I can tell you in the entire world, India is the capital for the spirituality and we should feel proud of the same. मजहब अलग है, धर्म अलग है, पूजा पद्धति अलग अलग हो सकता है, मगर जीवन पद्धति और देश के लिए जीना, समाज के लिए जीना, ये हमारा कर्तव्य है, ये हमारा जीवन पद्धति है।
And now let's change gears and get you all the latest in international news in Global Buzz. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has invited South Korea's President Moon Jae-in for a summit in Pyongyang. The invitation was delivered by Kim's visiting sister Kim Yo-jong. An inter-Korean summit will be the third of its kind. Moon met Kim Yo-jong and the North ceremonial head of state Kim Yong-nam for talks and lunch at the Blue House today. An Israeli F-16 fighter jet crashed amid Syrian anti-aircraft fire after an offensive against Iranian targets in Syria. The two pilots parachuted to safety before the crash in northern Israel. It is believed to be the first time Israel has lost a jet in the Syrian conflict. Israel was carrying out strikes after the launch of an Iranian drone into Israel. More than 15 million Sri Lankans voted on Saturday in the long-delayed local elections. They are the first island-wide poll since the coalition government took office in August 2015 and are considered an important test of the government's reform agenda. It will appoint 340 of the island's 341 local councils. The election would be a stern test for the unity government of President Maithripala Sirisena and his Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe. US President Donald Trump blocked the release of a classified memo written by Democrats that rebuts a Republican document that was made public last week. The document had alleged anti-Trump bias in the FBI's Russia probe. Two people were killed and 55 wounded in a twin bombing inside a mosque in Libyan city of Benghazi on Friday. Explosions occurred during prayers at a small mosque located in Majori district. The devices placed in bags at the mosque doors were reportedly activated remotely using a mobile phone. All right, sports now in the third and final ODI between India and South Africa's women's team is underway at Sandhurst Park in Potchefstroom. The Indian women's team scored 240 runs in their innings. Batting first, the women's team lost early wickets as Smriti Mandhana was out on a duck, while skipper Mithali Raj was out for just 4 runs, leaving India at 10 for 2 in 6 overs. Opener Deepti Sharma then continued her innings with Veda Krishnamurthy to have an 83-run partnership for the 4th wicket. Deepti was the top scorer for the Indian team as she scored 79 runs. Veda Krishnamurthy contributed the crucial 56 runs in the middle order before Raisibi Nzatke took her wicket. Shabnam Ismail was the pick of the bowlers for the South African side as she took 4 wickets. Chloe Tyron then took 2, while Ayabonga Khaka, Danivan Neekirk and Raisibi Nzatke picked up 1 wicket each. The women's team has already clinched the 3-match series 2-0 and are eyeing a 3-0 whitewash against the South African team. And in the men's cricket team, batting first, India scored 150 for the loss of 1 wicket in 25 overs in the 4th one-day international against South Africa at New Wanderers Stadium in Johannesburg. Kohli is batting on 60 and Dhawan is at 79. The men in blue lost early wickets as Rohit Sharma was caught and bowled by Kagiso Rabada for just 5 runs. Skipper Virat Kohli then came to steady the innings alongside Shikhar Dhawan. Both Kohli and Dhawan in fact scored half-centuries. The men in blue lead the series 3-0 against the Proteas. With a win in the match, India will bag the series.
Nicely played. Gone fine as well, some work to do.
And finally, the 23rd Winter Olympics is underway in South Korea's Pyeongchang. In the ice hockey event, Sweden beat Japan 2-1 in the preliminary round of the women's event. Fanny Rask scored the opener for the Swedish team in the first to give her side a 1-0 lead, but the Japanese leveled the score just before the end of the second period. Sara Halmarsson then scored the second goal for Sweden to seal the victory. Sweden's Charlotte Kalla then won the first gold medal in the 15-kilometer skiathlon. She beat defending champion Marit Bjørgen of Norway by 7.8 seconds. Bjørgen, who won the silver medal, broke the record that she shared with Russia's Rajya Smetanina and Italian Stefania Belmondo. With 11 medals, she is the most decorated female Winter Olympian ever. And South Korea's President Moon Jae-in hosted a lunch with North Korean delegation, including North Korea's leader's sister Kim Yo-jong at the South's presidential Blue House in Seoul. And during the lunch, Kim Yo-jong in fact delivered her brother's personal invitation to Moon. And that's it on the news at 6. Thanks for joining us.